Today I want to talk about pressure testing. In traditional martial arts, there was always a problem with a lack of pressure testing. And when MMA came about in the early 90s, a lot of those problems were made very clear when traditional martial artists tried their stuff for real to a certain degree and found it wasn't so effective. This is the same problem when traditional martial arts are applied on the street, and sometimes they're found lacking in many areas. Traditional self-defense, traditional martial arts, they do have these problems. The things we can learn from MMA, not necessarily in context or anything like that, but in terms of the way they apply their training, are that they pressure test. They will pressure test every session. That doesn't mean that they're going 100% every session, going balls to the wall and just smacking the crap out of each other, right? But when they're, for example, on the floor rolling and grappling, they know for sure that their grappling works or areas they need to improve on, because they're doing it against a non-compliant opponent who's not just saying, oh, I'm going to do this move on you and you will do this counter. They are testing it. When they're sparring, yes, they might not be going 100% all the time in terms of power, because that's a fine way to burn yourself out. But they know, for example, if certain moves work because they are dealing with a non-compliant opponent who is also trying to hit them. So they are pressure testing every session, whether they're going close to full power or they're going much lighter, they are still pressure testing. And that's something we can learn from in self-protection, and certainly in the more traditional martial arts and traditional self-defense, because we really want to be applying that concept to our training in self-protection. So every class, we don't just want to be doing it like they do in traditional, a lot of traditional classes that I've been to, where it'll be like, oh, we're going to do a self-defense move. I will do this, and then you will do this block. And there's no real life to that move. It's all pre-prepared. And even if they do it a bit harder, it's generally, oh, I'm going to throw this move, so you know what's coming. You have to make it realistic, whatever you're training, you have to have some pressure. So yes, you'll do some isolated stuff where you might train it just to get the technique. You might train it slowly. So you might say, okay, well, we'll train a palm strike on the pads or whatever, or we'll train how to protect yourself if you mess up and you haven't been able to get out of the situation, and you haven't preempted the aggressor, and then someone throws a strike at you and you cover up. So yeah, you might do that at a slower speed just to get the technique, and in a situation where you know what the person is going to throw at you. He's throwing a hook, I cover like that, for example, and you might do it slowly. But once you get to grips with the basics, you then have to pressure test it. You have to know, can I do this can I do that at a fast speed? And then how do I counter? And then once you get better at that, how can I deal with that when I don't know what's coming? When I don't know if it's going to be some sort of straight strike or some sort of hook or something like that. So you've got to pressure test it. You've got to pressure test against it. Even if you're doing nice training, it can't just be someone slowly doing, I'm going to hit you with this, or I'm going to hit you with this. You've got to do it at some point where they are going at speed and they are trying to get you. Obviously not with a real blade. You've got to be safe, you're using a training blade, but you're going to have to do it where they're trying to get you, or where they don't tell you first what they're going to go at you with. So you can pressure test those techniques as well. And a similar thing goes for your fitness. If you're only training in self-protection and you're training, say, once a week, then you're going to have to do, if you only go to one class a week, then you're going to have to train solo or with a training partner or friend or family member at home or out in the local park, because you need to maintain your fitness and you need to stay sharp. So you're going to have to practice more than that and work on your fitness, do a workout, go to a gym, do interval sprints around the park, do some good old strongman training, stuff like that, so that you're basically fit and ready should a situation arise where you've got to apply your skills. And this is what I think we can learn from MMA. Their conditioning is great, they are pressure testing regularly, and they're basically fight ready to a certain degree all the time. And we should apply that same principle to self-protection. Train, pressure test, keep fit, and be ready at all times.